Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to dubious engineering. Yes, indeed. So today I would like to review some long-standing headphones that I've had and used. These are the BOSE QC25s versus the Jabra 65Ts. The reason I had to look is they're relatively new, but I have done some travel with these to Turkey, and amazingly I've done some travel with these to Turkey as well. And these unfortunately let me down one day on the plane. They have a design flaw with one of the little speakers inside them. In fact, it's one of my longer running videos. It's got about 30,000 views, and some of you may be here because you've seen that very video. So as much as I do like BOSE, and I do like the way that these particular units work, there's something to be said for having something small to take on a plane with you that you can put in your overhead. Okay, I must say that the airlines are looking for you to reduce the amount of luggage that you take on board with you, and they're starting to charge more and more for checked-in baggage. And checked-in baggage is a real pain anyway, because at the end of the day, you have to take that checked-in baggage, check it in, wait for it to come out on the conveyor, so there's delays and blah, 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 blah. Carry-on is much easier. So that in your carry-on versus that in your carry-on, that gives you room for at least another pair of pants and socks. So let's have a quick look at the hardware. These are the BOSE headphones here, and in the case you get a little adapter and a spare battery. So that's the case out of the way. And these are the QC25s. There is a more updated version which have batteries in them and are Bluetooth. So these are the wired QC25s, which I enjoyed and had to repair. And then over here we've got the Jabra, and these are absolutely tiny. They're really, really little headphones, little in-ear headphones that literally just stick in your ear. And the case here has got a second battery inside of it, and some little gold contacts in there. And when you put these Jabra headphones back in the case, it recharges the Bluetooth Jabra headphones. Another little bonus that I've found with these, if you tap the outside of them twice, they activate the microphones on the outside of the headphones, so you can hear what's going on around them. Whereas with the BOSE, you don't get the ability to be able to do that. Now, the other thing actually I will say, BOSE have a very nice sound. The sound from the BOSE is only apparent when you turn them on. Now these will work like standard headphones. So another bonus with the BOSE here, you can literally take these headphones and plug them in to an MP3 player and listen to them without turning them on. So it doesn't matter if you've got a flat battery. When you turn them on, there's a DSP unit inside these headphones that profiles the sound, and it profiles the bass, so it makes the bass a little bit heavier, and then it profiles the treble, so it gives you a little bit of extra ting, a little bit of extra tin. And that profile sound is really quite pleasant once you've turned them on. And obviously the noise cancelling comes into effect when you turn these on. Now, noise cancelling with the Jabra, this is done through the microphones on the outside of them. And I've noticed that that just having them in your ears is effectively like having a pair of earplugs in your ears. And so the noise cancelling is already in place effectively because you've just blocked in your ears. I suppose in the same way that these act a little bit like ear defenders, you know, big builders, ear defenders, people using jackhammers and whatnot. So yeah, these do a very similar thing, but they're not quite as sealed, whereas these seal really, really well. The sound out of these guys is quite magnificent. I'm surprised, genuinely surprised. The bass is very heavy on these. I think I think ultimately you've got such a large outside diameter of these devices. They're not heavy by any stretch of the imagination, but you've got such a large outside diameter of these, I think you must have some pretty big drivers that live inside them, because the quality of the sound that you get out of them is absolutely magnificent. Now, the downside with these Jabras, the battery only lasts about 4 or 5 hours before you need to put them back in the case, which has the second battery, and recharge them. Now, to be fair, that I didn't find as a hardship, only because my flight was 4.5 hours long, so I was able to listen to them most of the way on my flight. Hey up peeps, I'm on a flight to Turkey, again amazingly with headphones, and looking at the Jabra headphones, got about 2 hours into the flight, and unfortunately the headphones stopped, so battery ran out. And good news, the case has got another battery in it, so that'll recharge them. Put them in there for about half an hour, going to give them another try and see how we do. So anyway, this will be part of the headphone review video. Cheers! Another big bonus, obviously, with these particular headphones is they're wire-free. As I say, the QC25s from BOSE are also Bluetooth, and you don't have a wire with them. There's an application from the App Store that you download to your telephone that you can use with the Jabra set, and that application allows you to profile the sound or equalize the sound in the way you want to equalize it. So again, I've gone for the sort of the BOSE profile, which is slightly heavier on the bass, a little bit lower in the mid-range, and then peaking up again ever so slightly on the treble side of things. And I found that these actually were probably biased slightly towards the bassier side, and less treble, so they didn't have that ting. They weren't emphasizing some of the high end or high frequencies, whereas these BOSE headphones did do that. But a very gentle tweak on the old telephone here, and you can get them sounding pretty much just how you want them to sound. So when using these and making a telephone call, life becomes a little bit interesting. You can't, have you ever put your fingers in your ears, made a proper seal, maybe licked your fingers and stuffed them in your ears, and then tried talking? The only thing you can hear is the sound of your own voice sort of reverberating around inside your head. Whereas with the BOSE headphones here, because that connection is so much looser, you don't have that issue. You're not sort of listening to the sound of your own voice. So I did find that making a telephone call with the Jabras plugged in was a little bit off-putting, just again because they make such a good seal. If you're using them primarily to enjoy music, then I would strongly recommend that these are tiny and very, very good quality, certainly for the money. I think they're about £150. Whereas these here are about certainly the QC35s, which are sort of the modern day equivalent, are more in the region of about 250, 300, maybe even £350 in some airports. Now, whilst on the plane in Turkey, what was fantastic, I was sitting next to a gentleman who had in one of, well, what I believed was exactly the same a set of headphones that I had. In fact, indeed, he did have in the same set of headphones, but only half of them. So he had only the right headphone remaining, because unfortunately, when he'd been cycling to work one day in London, one of these headphones had fallen out of his left ear. And when he went to go and rescue it, he'd found it had been run over by a bus. Such a shame. Anyway, we became aeroplane friends, and we had a good chat about these headphones. He'd only had them for a week, but again, he'd really enjoyed the performance of the headphones up until the point that he'd lost them. So if you're watching, lovely to meet you, and thanks ever so much for the chat and the company on the plane. So, all in all then, I know this hasn't been scientific in the way of comparing these two types of headphones. I'm just sort of explaining to you my personal my findings, my personal thoughts and findings having used these headphones. on airplane trips, having gone through the pain of these headphones breaking and having to replace one of the internal speakers inside of them. And in fact, if you look at this video, one of those sides there, you will see that there's many people that are also suffering from that exact problem. Whereas I know it's a little bit early days, but these Jabra headphones have the benefit of being small, compact, and easy to fit in a flight case, and also have a very good sound to them. The downside is the battery, but as I said, you can pop them back in their box and they will recharge for a good, they'll play for a good sort of 2 sets of 4 or 5 hours. So almost 10 hours of use with a short break in the middle, maybe 30 minutes or so to recharge them. Anyway, as always, thanks ever so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to pop them in down below. I'd be very happy to share my experiences with you and my thoughts on these different pieces of equipment. And if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe, because there will be more of this kind of stuff coming in the near future. And if you haven't seen some of our other videos, I'm sure you might enjoy them. It's generally a technology related channel, Dubious Engineering. Take care, people. Have a wonderful, wonderful week and wonderful weekend. Thanks ever so much for watching. Cheers and beers. Okay, I'm here with my friend Sinan. We're on an internal flight in Turkey. I'm just testing the Jabra headphones again. I had to shut Sinan out and block him off because he was talking too much. So I plugged them in, listened, and it was absolutely magnificent. It was magnificent. It was a great experience. These are wonderful on flights, noisy flights with screaming children and people who talk too much.
Değerli misafirlerimiz, kısa bir süre sonra inmiş olacağız.